Yeah, I wore out those old outlaw records when I was just a kid. And I wanted to live that crazy life Waylon and Willie did. Yeah, the reason that I bought my first guitar was that honky-tonk sound. And I dreamed of the day that Silver Eagle rolled into my town. It was all about the music, it was all about the rhythm and the rhyme. It was all about some more fun in 3/4 time. It was all about standing on the stage and winning the applause of some good-hearted crowd.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Scott Taylor Band this morning because Scott Taylor Band put on a hell of a show last night at Moonshine. If you weren't there, you missed out.
If you weren't there, you were one of the few that wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was crowded. It was lively.
They sounded great.
My mom went.
Your mom did go.
How about that?
Yep.
Saw lots of old friends.
Yeah.
She saw lots of friends, and
There were. Your mom was like, your mom. Before we get into this, watching your mom at Moonshine last night was like that scene in The Godfather when they all come up and want something and kiss the ring. Your mom had a steady line of people
a receiving
that wanted
line.
to say, basically, say that wanted to say hi to her and hadn't
very
seen her
cool.
for a long
I'm
time.
glad she got out and went with us.
And some had probably been a while because they had to kind of tell her who.
People that
They
she knew
were.
from that
Yeah.
she taught,
Yeah.
that are now middle-aged adults.
Yeah. No,
There were people there that she worked with.
It was cool just to see
Very
the
fun.
line of folks that stopped by to say hi to your mom last night.
Very nice. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. Still have 99 cents. There's no way they make money on that red funnel, but they've got it.
They don't need to.
If you need
It's a
one,
loss leader.
it's a loss leader. It's like milk in the back of the store.
And it is at the back of the store.
It is 45 degrees under what will be sunny skies today, clear skies, with a high of only 69. 45 to 69 under chilly temps.
Chilly temps.
That's right. The dead of winter, the winter of 24, we will rebuild.
We will rebuild.
Hoping for some FEMA money.
Well, I guess that's our jumping off point.
Or
President Trump weighed in yesterday and said, Republicans, do not kowtow to the pressure and pass this spending bill. So guess what? They're going back to the drawing board tonight.
Good for him.
Darn right it's good for
It's
him.
good for him to step in and say, let's don't do it. And it's just fun to see that he already has the power to say, let's just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he basically told them that
A stopgap funding bill, they call it.
yeah, Donald Trump opposed it. Some of the things in there, a lot of it, we talked a little bit about some of the pork in there yesterday, and I found out a little bit more overnight that the farm aid that they referred to was basically an expansion of food stamps.
We're looking at one of the comments here says Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance in a joint statement said that the 1,547-page bill would give sweetheart provisions for government censors. Majority Leader Steve Scalise, you'll hear his name a lot now. He's the majority leader. Is a Republican from Louisiana, said on Wednesday that the stopgap funding bill put forward by the House by Mike Johnson was scrapped after Trump opposed it.
And I look forward, we're supposed to visit tomorrow, at least he's on the schedule, our representative, Michael Cloud. And it's interesting because Michael has said this, why we can't seem to manage to get the 12 appropriations through and get their budgeting process done in the normal budgeting cycle and process has always kind of baffled him. And they've tried. He sits on the appropriations committee. They've tried to get this done. It continually gets blocked by Republicans and Democrats. And yet, all of a sudden, there seems to be a call from some of those on the right. Well, why can't we just get this done through the appropriations process?
Scalise is the guy that got shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting how these people, now looking back, was it because he was on the fast track to being a leader? Was it just a random act?
I think he was the Republicans' best hitter at that softball game. That might have been why. But I don't know that his career would have had the trajectory without it. It gave him
Without him being,
a spotlight and a voice.
empathetic
Yeah.
and sympathetic figure. That's why I wear the Fetterman.
The government, unless something happens, would shut down on December 20th. You know what? Shut it down. It's really, you and I have talked about this, depending on which congressional budget analysis, it's anywhere from 12% of the government to about 18% of everything the federal government does actually would have to not stop working, right?
Right. Go back to
Who cares? Honestly.
It says Trump also emphasized his opposition to replacing the current funding package with a continuing resolution that doesn't raise the debt ceiling, saying the bill would be so destructive to our country. All it will do is bring the mess of the debt limit into the Trump administration rather than allowing it to take place in the Biden administration. Any Republican that would be so stupid as to do this should and will be primaried, he wrote. Fine, so he says, you do it, we're going to find somebody to run against you.
Well, you know what? I like the fact he's standing up to the games that they will play in Washington, D.C. and other political jurisdictions. But he's basically saying, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to be taking the blame for things that should have been fixed in the previous administration. So good for him.
There you go. Good for him.
Yep. Jordan Glass, first one in this morning. Heather Stewart, Scott Tomko. There's your podium. Rena Scherer just missing out in a photo finish. Kendra Douglas, Lisa Poole, Ricky King, Judge Posey. Good morning. Justin Glass, Will Vincent.
Will's back. Will's back.
Will's back. Greg Garcia, Marvin Mickers. Good morning. Bobby Leister. Daniel Wade White, Tammy Keeley, Linda Chris, Stephanie Connie. Sean Brett.
Great group. Good morning.
Hey, good to see you up so early, Sean.
Sean, you were
Great job last night, man. Yep.
He can really play that
He can
guitar.
play. Scott Snow, Barbara Brazell, good morning. Junior Samples, David Glass, Wendy Hughes Garcia, Kathleen Leininger, Stephen Castaneda, Carter's checking in as well.
Good morning, Carter. That's a really good iteration of the Scott Taylor band when you have the Gimmies, the Mike Parker that was always there, and Sean. And then you have David Stockton back on bass and singing harmony, which was great. And then, of course, Everett Wood plays the drums. But Billy Joe Hyde, who I know that he and Scott have been in bands together. I'm not sure you would ever say Billy Joe was in the band. He often sat in and played with the band, but he plays the steel guitar. And the band is still really tight.
Yeah.
The music is really, really good. And
I talked to Sean and Mike before the show, and they said they've been practicing for 4 hours a day for months to prepare
that's a
for
lie.
It was a lie.
I know that's a lie. Yeah, I know.
They admitted to me they basically texted each other the set list and made their corrections and said, no, I like this song instead of this one. And
Sean probably
there they
tuned his
went.
guitar on a Wednesday morning, and they just like falling off a log.
Matt Boucher, good morning.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens to the deficit under Trump.
Well, but why did the
2.0.
deficit blow up, Tammy? He cut taxes, but Congress refused to cut spending when they cut the taxes. That's the problem. The deficit doesn't grow if they would have cut the spending to offset the tax cuts. That's the problem in Washington, D.C. That's the problem in most state governments.
So if you have tax cuts, you have to have a balanced budget. You have to say this is all we're going to spend. But Congress never did that.
No, Congress
Congress
never
kept
does that.
spending
Congress
money.
has not done that forever.
Yeah. But
And
then,
then-
but
and
then
then
the
they
president
just-
gets blamed for it.
Yeah. Well, that's all Trump's fault. He added the deficit because of tax cuts. They never talk about how the tax cuts actually put more money in the average American's pocket. And they don't talk about the fact that the Trump tax cuts the last time around actually put people into jobs because the corporate taxes allowed the cuts, allowed businesses to hire people. I talked to several local business owners
I'm not
who
sure.
took advantage of that to hire people.
I just don't think the American people are ready to grasp the fact that income taxes, the idea that giving a break to the rich, the idea that that's a bad thing. It's always so, it's an oligarchy. Only the rich people get a break. The problem with that logic is, number one, the top, what is it? The top 1% pay 48% of the taxes.
Yeah, and top 10% and 50% of all taxpayers
Don't
all
pay
of it.
any taxes. Yeah. And then you're like, you've got to address the fact that the taxes are all spent and then some. They don't really affect the debt. We don't bring in enough in taxes to cover
No, that's
our
the
debts. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem at the very
problem.
least.
Yeah, not the problem. There's plenty of problems, but it's certainly a problem. Let's see.
It's kind of like when the airlines back in the 80s, the airlines were expanding rapidly. The reason they expanded so rapidly, adding gates, if you will, was because there was a provision in the tax law that as long as an airline was growing, it could push its taxes down and kind of kick that can down the road. So all of a sudden, they were expanding past the point of profitability because paying the taxes was going to kill them. And that's kind of where our debt is at. We just print more money and do what we want to do. And we'd fight anybody in the world for the opportunity to make sure the dollar is still the official trading currency of oil. We'd go to war over that because without it, we're doomed.
Yeah. Tammy says true. Can't give tax cuts and keep spending. Trickle down economics doesn't really work.
There is some truth to that. There were people, Reagan spoke of trickle-down economics, and there were folks who thought that it would work, and it does work in theory as much as anything, right? How many of these things, somebody show me something that really worked. The idea was if you're a rich guy and I give you a 10% tax cut, that you're going to go ahead and add that employee that you always wanted to, that you couldn't afford, and you may even start another business. And which is better than giving a tax cut to a guy who can only, like me, who could only use the money for himself. At my best, I'm not going to start a new business by getting another $2,000 a year in tax money.
No.
But if I'm Elon Musk and all of a sudden when they say, well, they pay the lowest tax rate. Okay, but 10% of 300 billion, is more than 28% of what I make. So I don't know.
There's Brent Anderson checking in.
Hi, Zip. I may owe you a call. I got a message the other day. My phone rang. I wasn't available. And when I checked the message, it just went, which that's Brent Anderson left me a message. I think I got the message. That was saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
There's a
Hope
lot.
you're doing well.
It all depends on the inflection because I've heard you two speak that language.
There you go. Clinton administration was the last one to balance the budget. I tell you what, for all of his faults, lying to Congress, which is akin to me, is Trump incited an insurrection. Why do you think they use that word? Because they could talk about the 14th Amendment or whatever, getting rid of the guy over things that we'll use the wording from the amendment
to help frame our case. Yeah.
But I tell you what, I would take me some Bill Clinton right now.
I would.
You wouldn't?
No.
Oh,
Because Hillary comes with that
well, that's a true
package.
story. With the death
And
toll
I don't know
goes
that there's
up,
I don't know that there's an uglier person on the face
She
of
is
the
the-
planet.
she
and
is the
not,
devil
and I'm not,
incarnate.
And I'm not talking looks. I'm talking just absolute evil.
No, she is an evil person. There's no doubt about it. Kathleen Leininger with the public service announcement. Ash, go ahead.
Yeah, she says the Shiner Comanches made it to the state finals of football, played a great game, took second in state. So they did not win yesterday.
That was a long way to say Shiner lost yesterday in football. But good for them because you got to get there to lose. I used to say that about OU. You got to get there to lose, and they played good.
I think they should change the name to the Shiner Box.
That'd be awesome. But just
there's
BOX. Or
there's
just get in the box.
There's some tie-ins there. There's probably some NIL money that
They
kids
probably
could
ought
get.
to call the stadium the Shiner Box. That'd be great.
Buddy Stefano checking in. BJ Nelson, good morning.
Woke up this morning. Well, I do want to read that then. Okay, because that's worth reading. Wrote this morning the sorriest piece of journalism ever. So you know who it's from, the Victoria Advocate. Shiner gets a taste of its own medicine in state title game. Now, it's a regional. They're a regional team. It's a regional newspaper. Shiner gets a taste of its own medicine.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess that they usually maybe Shiner wins. Well, let's see. Haven't subscribed to this. Yeah. Well,
I'm not going to go off on a headline. I mean,
no, but at the same time,
without
Kathleen's
watching,
right.
well, but without watching the game or knowing what happened in the game, maybe they did get a taste of their own medicine.
I don't know what their medicine
I'm
would
probably
be.
thinking that one of our greatest sports writers that I think is an
Mike
unheralded
Foreman?
gem around this country probably wrote the story.
But the Advocate itself, bless its heart, terrible newspaper. Very glad that it's basically gone. Hit piece oriented, extremely biased.
But I don't know.
Yeah, Mike Foreman's as good a writer as there is in
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
He's a great writer. Huge liberal. Off the chart, syrupy liberal, but a great writer. You don't notice it in his sports writing.
Anyway, we can take a break. Don't we?
Really?
Yeah. Sure, why not?
Tired.
Sheriff Louderback checking in.
Good morning, Sheriff. Texas House District
Thanks,
30,
Paul.
Representative-elect Sheriff A.J. Louderback. Tammy Keeling with a Tourette's moment, talking about vouchers for no apparent reason. Went Services, folks. Went for all your electrical and generator needs. If you have basic needs at your home, you need a new plug, you need an outlet, you need some GFCI plugs installed, you're trying to bring things up to code, reach out to the experts at Went Services. They will take care of you. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. Let Charlie Garcia and his team come out and put down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't.
Crack, stick, peel, or fade.
There you have it. Mr. Alert at the helm. Veracruz Restaurant, simply the best Mexican food in town, period. Reach out. Get some salsa. You can stop by and grab a quart of that salsa. It's not expensive, and it's just even better at home out of the fridge. Fantastic. RK Development Group. Daniel Rollins got me choked up there. I was thinking about him. What a great job he does with 35 years of experience building barns, barn dominiums. They do a tremendous job. You can reach out to him. You can find him on Facebook, see a gallery of the work that they've done. That's RK Development Group, the VCS companies. For all your communication needs, I spoke to Ms. Hartman the other day. She said to tell you hi. Doing well. Miss Jennifer, Kelly, JR, all available to help you with all your communication needs. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Last night, celebrated Alan and Janet Miller's birthdays. They, Alan is 76 years old, and he was having fun last night.
Yeah, he was.
Great deal. Great time to see him. Brand us, be looking around. If you spot the brand new Toyota Tundra, just pull that rig over and Commander Cody will give you something free. Find it. Just herd him off the road. It says brand us right there on the back left window.
Making sure he was paying attention over there.
He might grab some of those Wade and Cart. Some of that. No, not the Longhorn cigarette lighter. What about some of the Wade and Carter gear? Just pull him over, flag him down. and he'll be there for you. And then all that gear comes from Compadres Design. You want to change the way the world perceives your business, reach out to Compadres and let them help you with a new logo.
There's Jarrett
and
McCrugen.
some gear.
So it's behind a paywall, but it says Shiner gets a taste of its own medicine in state title game. And then the
Foreman wrote that?
I don't know. I can't see that. But then the next line is Shiner had the script flipped on them in Wednesday night state championship game. All that tells me is what Shiner had done all year long, either
Or what they've done in the past by winning state championships.
or Munster did what Shiner normally does to win the state. You're reading way too much into that, folks.
I would have thought, though, that
Feelings are hurt over nothing.
you'd like for that to be more of a positive in the region where they live. It'd be like if Victoria East went and got beat by a team from Dallas. You would not want the headline to win, to read "Big City dumps on Victoria." I mean, you'd want it to say East valiantly comes up short. It ought to be positive for the kids. But there you go, because you're just contrary this morning. You were up a little late. You didn't get your Metamucil in. Probably tell the truth. Your constitution's off a little bit.
No, not yet.
It's a,
I'm still on time.
it's like
No worries.
Folks, he drinks his coffee by the gallon.
Well, there's another one of those waiting in the truck for when
Gotta
I get out
to
of
the
here too.
office. I can't talk right now. I've got to get to the office.
Oh, there's been some days. Oh Lord, I hope I make it.
Oh Lord,
Oh Lord.
unbelievable. Ash put on here. You can ask us anything.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead, ask
I
them
would
and call us,
suggest-
even or comment on Facebook or YouTube for those
Yeah,
of you watching.
894-4020. You really can ask us anything. We may not answer.
We may-
It was great to see Adam Schugert there last night.
Yep.
John Paul Hull was there last night. His lovely bride, Ember.
Saw Ray and Marcy Bridges.
Yes. First time I've seen them in a while.
Yeah, me too. Had a really good time last night. Great time. Jordan Glass is a 1-point game with 6 minutes left in the fourth. It was a good game. There you go. So maybe Shiner didn't win the close game this time around. I don't know. I don't know. Will Vincent wants to know, Ash didn't eat breakfast.
He doesn't eat breakfast.
I eat a little breakfast bar coming in. That's it. My breakfast is.
Did the
a little
Ducks
bit later
win
today.
last night?
That's a question that I don't know the answer to. Will,
That's rare.
Lisa Poole wants to know, did we all have a late night?
We
It
did.
was later than normal. It wasn't ridiculously late.
We took Mom home. By the time I got home, it was midnight, which, is not,
Yeah,
it's not unreasonably late, but
it is when you got to get up at dark 30 to come do this.
But I'm a guy that
yeah.
by the time I get home, which is always by 10:30 on Palace Bingo night, I've had it, man. I'm done. We're up before 6 and do the show here, then work all day, and then get out to Palace Bingo and stay there till 10. The thing that gets me about Palace Bingo, I want to take that halftime break and cut it in half.
Well, but I think the difference is you're paying attention to bingo numbers being called and daubing the right. And there's so many
Junior samples type distractions.
that, and there's so many of those pull tab games that you actually, bingo is almost mentally draining because you have to really pay attention or you're going to start daubing the wrong sheet like I've done on occasion. That's the difference. Last night was just, hey, let's listen to music and have a good time. And that's what it was. Yeah, Ducks did win. Least over the Dallas Stars, but the Texas Stars, minor league hockey. It's great.
Jarrett McCrugen pointing out something that we talked about several weeks ago. It's genius how much Trump is getting done with one comment regarding tariffs without actually putting any tariffs into place and without lifting a finger. Absolutely. He's got Mexico sealing the border. He's got Canada basically ceding their sovereignty to become the 51st state.
Or the 53rd. It just depends on whether D.C. or Puerto Rico
get
beats
in
them
there.
across the finish line. But what was interesting is it's almost unraveled or has started to lead to the unraveling of the Trudeau administration in Canada. The finance minister, deputy prime minister stepped down on the weekend after their fall financial report, whatever they call it, sort of like a,
debt balloon.
Yeah.
From 40 to, they had a $44 billion limit. They
Cap
went
or
to
something,
60.
yeah. And that's why this thing usually gets released earlier in the fall, not on the verge of winter, because we're like a day or two away from the actual beginning of winter. But this report from Chrystia Freeland, the former finance minister of Canada and deputy prime minister, was delayed and then delayed and then delayed and delayed again. We're 2 days away from the beginning.
There's Torrin
of
Bales
winter.
checking in.
Lots of people asking where
They
you were
did.
last night,
Torrin,
Torrin,
they
and then we
asked where
found
you
out you were
were.
at some movie.
Yeah, you were at some Grinch movie or something. And then just so you know, Ash and I did take the opportunity to really detail our appreciation of the great work you did, both on the exterior and interior of Moonshine. We had that conversation with John Paul, where we said, man, just the forethought that Torrin put into this remodel,
From the hubcaps.
from the hubcap to the lighting to the bar itself, the furniture, all that stuff.
And then when anybody ever asked where Torrin was, we went into our best yacht rock voice. He's watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ask us anything, Tammy. That's not a question.
Well, she does say, I wish Brad Buckley would have given the cost estimate for the new big government added to the Texas Comptroller's Office in order to oversee and administer the voucher program. I think it'll be minimal. A program that will spend more and not increase taxes. I think it'll just be I don't think it's going to increase taxes. And I also don't believe that the vouchers are going to be nearly as big a deal as the opponents believe they are. I just don't. The numbers just aren't there. It's 150,000 kids over the next decade.
Well, here's the problem.
It's just not
though.
that big a deal.
But here's the problem I have with what I see out of the Texas legislature. We've had record surpluses, and
Which only means we've overpaid our taxes.
Yes.
That's all it means.
Well,
They didn't make any money.
or they get some, I guess there's some royalties from oil and gas that they could get that add to that surplus, right? But
Torrance says it's one of the better rehabs of a building. JP was no help. That's nice. TB just
that's
bringing
funny.
it.
Well, because JP said the same thing yesterday about Torrin.
Yeah, he just goes, Torrance. Yeah.
What did he do? He didn't do nothing.
I think what we have uncovered through this thoughtful conversation with folks that are proponents and opponents of the voucher program is that it is not going to lead to the demise of the public school system.
I don't think so.
It is not going to lead to there's nobody here at the school to pay for the bond. That's all.
But
That's
here's
all
the
been
problem
debunked.
I have, and I mean, what happens one day when these surpluses dry up? And I don't know that'll happen because they budget so that the surpluses are there every year. It's a game they play. They're never going to go into a budget session and go, "Oops, there's no surplus this year." But boy, I would like to see them just not spend that surplus and find a way to get that money back to the people that pay the taxes in this state.
Torrin points out he did all the heavy lifting
Of course
on the
he did.
Moonshine remodel. Do you think that is the main thing of the vouchers? Is it kind of from the religious right, the people that want to control what their kids are taught, the curriculum? Where do you think, what's the impetus of, I want my kid out of there? Because it's not people who can't afford to go to St. Joe, for example, who want to go to St. Joe. St. Joe doesn't have room for 500 VISD kids, nor is St. Joe going to take on the burden. They're smarter than building a building with a 30-year note on it.
Yeah, they still use buildings that were built 100 years ago.
They're not going to
Nobody's complaining over there.
They're
They
not
need new buildings.
taking out a bond with the Catholic Church.
No, I'm not sure if it was as grassroots as this, but some of the people that I've talked to were just fed up with the lack of discipline in public schools and the fact that Texas public schools as a whole are doing this.
Well, wouldn't it be cheaper
There
just
you
to
go.
hire
Okay,
somebody?
2008 budget cuts. It did happen.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to hire somebody to go around from school to school just beating the crap out of kids that don't act right?
Yeah.
That'd be cheaper. That's what we need to do is have a pact with the community. You got to sign off on the pro-discipline voucher that we're gonna use to discipline your kid.
I don't think I could vote yet in 2008, Tammy.
We're not going to put up with, if we've got a zero tolerance, let's say for cell phones in the classroom, then we're not going to put up with it. We'll take your phone up, put them in the box, pick them up at the end of the class.
Well, I think there's things that need more focus than dress code, to be honest. We all went to school when there was no dress code unless we went to a private school back
But
in the
we
day,
also
right?
had parents that would say, "You're not wearing that in public. Go get you don't need some girl showing up with some midriff on that.
Yes,
That's
you do.
oh
If
stop
you're
it.
13 and 14
This
years
ain't
old,
fast time.
helps you get through school sometimes.
Yeah,
But there's more important things to worry about.
yeah. I
And I don't know.
again, Junior makes a great point. St. Joe will require the kids to qualify to get in, for example, and the voucher won't pay for the tuition in full. I always like, a lot of times if I go to Vegas, I play by the dealer's rules. The dealer usually wins. So whatever the dealer has to do, that's what I do. Maybe we need to just start having our public schools say, hey, it's a privilege to go to school here.
Zed Stewart said people want vouchers because they want to at least have an option when the schools are failing.
You can't believe how many people have honestly suggested that we print a T-shirt that says "Sit down, shut up, and learn something."
I don't have a problem with it.
I think the majority of Victorians are at that point. We're not here to entertain your kid. We're not here to make sure we're not trying to compete with PS5 with a bunch of digital learning. Sit down, shut up, and learn something. The average high school class lasts, 40, 45 minutes? Sit there and be quiet.
There's a problem too, though. I think kids have to go home with way too much homework that they never used to have to come home with.
Well, I'll tell you something that most of you don't want to hear because you enjoy the time with your children, but our kids are out of school way too much. They're out of school way too much. It seems like every other week it's, we got a half day here. It's always a half day because that way the school district still collects cash, but we got to have a half day here, and then we're going to take that day off, and then we're off for the spring break, we're off for the Christmas break, and we're off, for these 4 days. And I think that would just go to year-round school. We could do curling indoors in the summer at the new UHV curling arena.
Yep.
The pride of the South, the UH curling team. But I think that there's not enough.
Trust me, somebody approached me. It might happen.
You just don't get enough momentum. It seems like, I'll ask Ryland, do you have a test? No test this week. Really? When are you going to have a test?
Well, then you come back to school after 3 months off, and you spend the first month refreshing what you forgot all summer.
There you go, Judge Posey. Thanks for clarifying. Says the headline was Gabe Meyer's article. Mike Foreman, his headline read Munster edges Shiner and Thriller. Now, see, that's the direction I would go. Of course, I'm just with the Pulitzer Prize winning writer, whereas you, on the other hand, like the edge of the cutting. But you lost a lot of games in high school, didn't you? Y'all did. You lost a lot of games. Even with J-Dub in the backfield, still lost some games.
No, we lost my 11th grade year. We lost the city championship, which was as far as you could go back then. There was no provincial
it's a 15-minute city. They don't let you actually leave. There's no bus.
Well, we played ourselves.
Your parents.
Scrimmage was a losing end.
The Aggies take a W on that. One year they claimed a W in the maroon and white game. Oh. Terry says most private schools will raise their tuition the amount of the voucher. Now, you have no way to know that.
But
Tammy.
that's
me and you talking.
that's
You have no
pure
way to know
conjecture.
that.
And actually, the private schools, if you're already in private school, according to
You don't get a voucher.
You won't get a voucher. Yeah.
But I guess she's saying that if let's just say that it was $1,000 a month to go to St. Joe, and you get a $800 voucher, that it's now going to be $1,800 a month to go to St. Joe. And I don't think the market will stand for that.
And if that does happen, then I think we need to call them out. That's the same problem with the student loan program. Oh, students have too much debt, but nobody's actually fixing the root cause of it.
Absolutely. Kathleen says private schools are more invested in maintaining their buildings versus public schools who rebuild the buildings. They don't worry about maintaining. I mean, I might take a little bit of exception with that just because VISD, just like, for example, our district, has not had the budget to maintain the buildings properly. They just waited too long to squeak. Like I said, that was something Bob Jacklich told me years ago, that when he was in Harlandale or when he was in the San Antonio area, he goes, we ran some kind of bond at them every year. We got them used to approving a bond. It may be $50,000 for a new AC at the gym, but every year we had a bond so that they got used to voting for the district and they realized it was painless. You don't like that?
No, I don't like that.
Worked for Jacklich.
It didn't work here.
It didn't work here. We run a bond at them every year just to survive, and they vote it down.
Daniel wait. So somebody needs to send some homework home with my kids because according to him, he doesn't have any.
Right.
Well, Vince says Fridays they get off early. That needs to stop. Brent Anderson says kids need to be in the swimming pool more often.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Tough to enforce the dress code in the pool, though, Brent.
Right? Segregated swimming. Not by color, but by sex.
By gender.
Right. There's that one chick in the bikini that, whoa, hey, Belina, get over here. Little Billy.
Lisa Bull says some schools don't assign homework. I like the T-shirt idea. We'll get onto that. As we pointed out the one time that we looked through the most comprehensive ratings of schools state by state, I think half of the top 15 schools in this country, states, have some sort of voucher / choice / education savings account available to the people. And when you looked at a lot of the failing schools or states, they didn't.
At some point,
what we're trying isn't working anymore,
no,
Tammy. That's the
work.
problem.
Our school districts are terrible. And at some point, the competition's got to be good. The business of schools is ridiculous. That's the problem. Like Tammy Keeling is an expert, a literal encyclopedia of school board knowledge. And 85% of it, my estimate, teaches children
You have a source for that?
nothing. Teaches children nothing. There are these codes. It's not her fault. She didn't write the code.
No.
But there's this code, subsection A, paragraph C, states that, and it gives you all this verbiage, has nothing to do with sitting down, shutting up, learning something, reading, writing, and arithmetic. It has nothing to do with butts in seats and test paper on desk.
Why has administration grown in schools? Because they're too busy worried about all the rules they have to follow and the reports they have to fill out.
They're beholden to the state to get the money.
Or the federal government.
And Tammy's only problem with the vouchers is about money. It's not about the kids. Tammy doesn't try to argue that vouchers might actually get children a better education. She just says, who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to pay the bills? Well, in that regard, it's an investment, not an expense.
And therein lies the problem. We've listened to these experts tell us how to build our schools, and in 30 years, you want to build new schools because, well, those schools are obsolete. They're no longer conducive to learning. Because we've listened to the experts tell us what the school should look like. In the meantime, then we hear 10 years down the road, well, gee, we got a lot of empty space at this school because we're heating 5 stories of a foyer that shouldn't, for no reason.
Right.
Or cooling it, right?
Well, or we do what we did at VISD, which again was about money. We build schools that are woefully inadequate from their inception. The the schools are, they haven't been, East and West High School were terrible the day they opened.
Scott Snow says, I don't agree with schools raising prices still. I don't either, Scott. And
So you just don't send your kid to a school that does that.
yeah,
That's what you do.
If you, unless you don't have that option.
Well, you do have that option. You can leave your kid in public school.
Yeah, there's that.
But when the people of the state of Texas really get irritated and decide to take their schools back, then it'll happen.
You say you want a revolution.
That's right. That's what it's going to take, an education revolution. That's right.
There you go.
Mr. T.
Ask us anything, folks. Let's take a break, and then you can ask us anything. We'll get a little more lighthearted this morning.
We've got time.
Yeah. Tammy's asked the question, what study is that? Again, I'd have to find it, but it's in one of the shows. I cited it.
There was a source.
Yeah.
What did you say?
It's an actual big study.
It was a study.
Yeah.
Paravita Wellness, folks. Get in and get healthy. Let Paravita help you this holiday
They'll be
season.
open Monday, and then they're closed for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then I think they open back up on Boxing Day for the Canadian or two that are in the audience this morning, Jarrett and Johnny Houghton.
There you go.
But they're if you have meals next week, you want to prep, go ahead. They will they'll get your meals for you on Monday.
And you can tell them what you want. Don
Yeah.
says, I'm focusing on protein. I don't want as many carbs. And you can tell them.
I've done the same thing, and they've made nice adjustments. I get twice the green beans if I want.
That's
them.
just like, could you use some more alcohol-based gravies? Bourbon gravy.
Can I have that little chocolate with the whiskey in it, please?
Right. The office is at 205. Call Jimmy Zaplak, the Zaplak Group, famous real estate people.
Yep.
Let them come down and show you the space right here next to us. The good news is we're gone at 8. By the time you get here, you won't have to listen to us.
Listen to us. We're
You
seeing
can listen to us on the way in and pass us in the stairwell.
First State Bank of Louise. Not much to talk Astros wise, other than they're still talking a lot.
There
lot
is
of
something to talk
talking.
about. Arenado.
Oh,
Arenado nixed the trade. He had the player option, and he said, no, I don't want to go to the Astros.
I did
I
not
guess
know
he's content to being a loser
I guess so.
in the National League for the Cardinals. White Trash Services, White Trash Site
It's
Services.
a Houston boy, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. By way of the Dominican, maybe. White Trash Services, helping you have a trash-tastic day. If you'll reach out to them at 550-1826.
BJ also the chamber board president, and she's going to come in and talk about Victoria Olay.
There you
I don't know
go.
exactly what that is, but
It's Monopoly game with the city on it. I wonder if Wade and Carter's on it. Chestic Furniture. Chestic and Love make your house a home.
you just always do better at Chesnick.
Get by and see the furniture, the offerings they have. Whole house. Get by and see them.
If you want it now for Christmas, you can get it now for Christmas. at Chesnick.
Absolutely.
Palace Bingo, we don't know when we're going to play in January, folks. Tune in January 2nd or
We'll
3rd.
get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back with you there. There's Melissa Hanson checking in. What?
I'm just checking.
Oh, you hit me for something.
I did. I felt like it.
Jared McCrugen says all we hear up here is more money, more prep time,
Now,
more
see,
days
Tammy
off
here's
needed.
what she wants to hear, which is ignorant, Tammy. Vouchers are an investment, but public schools are an expense, or and expense. Is she talking into her?
yeah.
She's typing as quick as her little heart will let her.
No, but-
wow. No, all education is an investment.
Should be an
No,
investment.
nobody suggested that the public schools were an expense.
But when
No
Texas
chance.
is in the bottom, when we're one of the largest states in the country, we're Texas, we're supposed to be better. And our schools are in the bottom half to third, depending on whichever metric you use to measure our educational attainment in this region is even worse than the state average.
Is it
Our kids
racist,
in this
sexist,
region
misogynistic to
terrible.
point out that we have a very, very diverse cultural state and that we have lots and lots of at least multilingual families, and that when you're having to offer English as a second language classes to get people to understand algebra, it can be a difficulty? Is that unfair? Is that
I don't know,
racist
but no.
to point out that fact, that truth? When you point out the truth, does that make you racist? We have a large population, especially south of us, that ain't helping their kids with their homework, okay?
Well,
Okay.
they're coming from countries that don't value education. They come from countries whose leaders want to keep their people in poverty. And then when they get an opportunity to send them here, they pay the cartels to send them here. Or
Well-
they open up their prisons to come here.
Rob Bargenbrook with a question. Does the voucher money come from state funds paid to the school or property taxes? I don't know. Right now, nobody seems to know where the money comes
surplus, I believe, wherever that came from. I
from.
don't
What
know.
is the surplus?
I don't, they don't tell you that. Kelly Farmy says drone sightings around White Settlement.
Right, that's right outside of
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
Yeah, there was also some around Camp Pendleton.
Well, isn't that airspace that needs to be shot down? I mean, shouldn't they be shot
I
down?
don't think so. No, this was, I'll find it, Tammy, and get it somewhere, but it was not funded by a voucher profiter. This is somebody that's been doing this, and there's multiple metrics.
I don't know who that is. But
Okay.
we have a caller.
We have a
right there.
caller, huh?
Yeah, we have a caller. Good morning, caller. Uh-oh.
Welcome to the Wade and Carter
Hang on,
Show.
'cause you're not-
Oh, maybe should be.
Oh, there you are. Hey, there you are. There you
There you
are,
go.
Kathleen. Good morning.
Hi, guys. You know, one thing that's never considered when you're talking about property taxes for school, public schools, and then the tuition paid for by private schools, those parents who are putting their kids in a private school are being double taxed for each kid that they put in school. So it's a huge investment for them. To ask for some of that in return that they're already investing is not a bad thing.
No, it's not
And-
a bad thing, but they're what they've done is they've put to rest the idea. If your kid's already in private school, they don't get a voucher. Like that's a decision you made as a family, right? I'm paying 2/3 of my taxes go to the school district, and I pay another $1,500 a month for my kid to go to private school. So
Right.
yeah, you're already admitting, right, that you're part of the public, you're part of the community, you're paying your school taxes, and it's
You
kind
don't
of
have
like
a choice, though. That's the kicker. You don't have a choice.
no,
Well,
that's right.
and we never
Which
had
is where
choice.
the voucher comes into play.
But aside from private schools, we've never had choices forever. But I think the problem that people are getting fed up with is the fact that our schools tend to be doing worse and worse by most
Well, you're not
measurable
teaching them
metrics.
anything. All you're doing is teaching them to be obedient and to follow along with whoever is the biggest bully to throw
right.
information at them.
Well, there's no doubt that we teach, unfortunately, again, in stereotype, we teach to the lowest common denominator. Nobody ever fails anymore. And everybody comes out, with about a 7 on a
And
scale of 1
and
to
we
10.
print textbooks to whichever textbook
You guys
publisher will
my
line the pockets of whoever's running the show.
Yeah.
my dad taught school for over 40 years in the
Wow.
public school system, and he sent all 9 of his kids to private schools because of what he saw at the public school.
Amen. No, I agree with you.
And it
You are
was a
preaching to
huge
the choir.
sacrifice. Sorry.
Well, hey, we
Thank
wish
you,
you the
Kathleen.
best of
Have a Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. to you
Appreciate
guys.
Thank
you
you for
listening and
always
calling.
listening.
And,
Yes, ma'am.
and in Calgary, if you send your kid to the Catholic schools, because there's the public school system and the Catholic school system, you actually pay 2 taxes. You pay property taxes or taxes to the Catholic school system as well. And
that
you
right?
pay I don't think you can opt out. Jarrett might be able to know. Maybe they've changed that, but I don't believe you can. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these drone sightings. But there
Well-
seem to be more and more popping up, and the government keeps telling you, well, some of them are legit, some of them aren't, some of them might be manned aircraft. Manned aircraft doesn't go.
If manned
The
aircraft
way-
drifts out across Joint Reserve Base Fort Worth, at some point you shoot it down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah. No,
I agree with Heather Kraft Stewart. Private school is a luxury, not a right like public schools. I agree, and I'm a public school product all the way through college. I believe, I believe that should be the case. Tammy says that it gives me these numbers, and I just don't think I don't know where they come from. So if you paid $2,000 in property taxes for 3 kids and you get $27,000 in vouchers, whose tax money is it? I don't know. I mean,
I didn't think our property taxes were based on our kids. If that's the case,
they're not. But the other problem
that's
is
overtaxing some kids.
Where that falls apart is, what about folks like my mom who pay property taxes and don't have any kids in the schools
and haven't for
40
years.
40 years. Yeah. She's paid all that money in to provide an education for other people's children. Okay. So,
Okay, Jared says you can't opt out, but you can declare which board you want your taxes to support. And then if you go private, you still pay your tax and the private school fee. At one point, though, and maybe this is because property taxes in Calgary got way too crazy as well. But at one point, you paid property taxes or taxes to the Calgary Board of Education and to the Catholic school system. But I guess they've changed that. Tammy Williams says, great interview on Joe Rogan's podcast. Supposedly there's a hot, dirty bomb out there. They don't know where it is. Yeah, this is interesting. I heard something about this the other day because the Nuclear Regulation Administration or agency or whatever they call it said on the Northeast coast, they were looking for a small amount of radioactive material that supposedly went missing from some medical facility. It was supposed to be sent to one of these Superfund sites to be disposed of or whatever.
And it's supposed to be, just so you know, folks, it's supposed to be the nuclear material that's used to calibrate certain medical equipment. It's not bomb grade material.
No.
It's not, uranium, whatever that's been.
But it went missing from New Jersey, and apparently when the truck showed up,
Heather Stewart never fails having a kid in my class. Well, she's right. She's an art teacher, and sometimes a kid does fail.
And apparently when the truck showed up, the box was ripped open and the stuff was gone.
Nice.
Yeah, but they don't know where it is. But I heard this yesterday as well, that apparently there are some unaccounted for nukes in the Ukraine that were Soviet era nuclear weapons, and they just don't know what happened to them. But apparently, or supposedly, rumor is they might be on our soil.
Really?
Somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, but I heard this talked about on talk radio, and it wasn't Alex Jones, by the way, either. But apparently there is some concern. Here's the false equivalency. Haven't had a firefighter, policeman, or vet in my house ever, but I still pay taxes for those salaries.
Well, absolutely right. So that is something that we all get together. Nobody's suggesting that the taxation for schools is not fair.
No, but that's a false equivalency.
Well, of course it is. But that's and Tammy, bless her heart, Tammy's a leftist. And when you get out there on the extreme left, then you make these deals about Republicans, they'll stop a woman's right for reproductive rights, but they'll sure sell you an AR-15. Totally just unrelatable, irrelevant garbage.
Rob Barnesburg says state monies per kid, property taxes on ownership. That's what we need to know. Where I agree. I want to know, and that's the one concern I have.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with that, and that's the one concern I have going forward is how are we going to measure if the voucher system is actually doing what it's being intended to do?
There's going to have to be standardized testing of some type. You've got to
implementation.
If not the STAR test, which is, that's like nowadays, that's like saying Coca-Cola. It's a standardized test. It's a STAR test. But you've got to have some kind of testing that shows that kids are qualified to go to college, for example.
You pay taxes, but if you ever need an ambulance, you'll pay for that too out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I'm already paying for the service for them to be there. I know. Go back to last February for reference.
Absolutely. No, but there are certain things we all get together as a community, education being one, essential services, whether it be law enforcement or, Adam Sugar chimed in and says, my head hurts.
Y'all know why my head hurts? I have a pretty good guess, but I won't answer that question on air. Adam asking playing along with Ask Us Anything. Some ask us anything. I'm tired of the school voucher thing. Done with it. No more school voucher talk today. It's too close to Christmas.
So Tammy says it's a false equivalency. How we would not have vouchers for any other public program. Well, here's the difference. I guess there's nothing to stop me.
I'm not sending my kids to the fire hall every day for an education.
No, I want money from the government to hire my own firefighter, and he can just stay in one room of the house. But what if he smokes?
But we have volunteer departments because we don't have enough firefighting services to go around.
It is a false equivalence. It's not the same. You can't compare law enforcement and firemen to
Adam
public
answered his
schools.
own question. He says his head hurts because Tammy's typing.
Right. It is tiring at times. It's too good not to share, but it's just so
Ask us
random.
anything, folks. Anything but vouchers. No more vouchers. If I see a voucher, I'm going to actually hide your comment and be done with it. I'm done with vouchers today. It's my show. It's our show. There's Uncle Norm. Merry Christmas, guys.
Hey,
there
Merry
you go.
Christmas, Norm.
I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite Christmas song? Just keep it in Norm Burgess's Christmas spirit. My question to you, since nobody else wants to play along.
My favorite Christmas song is "Oh Holy Night." Yeah, there's a guy named David Phelps, Phelps, that did the quintessential version of said song, and it is the song that I associate with Christmas.
All right.
Followed only by "School's Out for the Summer" by Alice Cooper. Not really. Ricky King says, Tammy, you are the reason people will not talk about it. No, we love Tammy.
Junior, you put the word vouchers.
Did he put the word vouchers?
Yes,
in
he
it?
put the word vouchers. He's testing me.
Oh, no. It's,
I told you. I
he
threatened
deleted
if
the
there's
comment.
vouchers, I'm deleting the
Straight
comment.
up deleted
I
it.
told you.
Mary, did you know? Written by Mark. Yeah, that guy. He's one of the Gaithers. Mark. Cody's looking it up. Mark Lowry.
Linda Chris says Jingle Ball Rock. Brenda Lee.
Brenda Lee but that's going way back.
Scott Snow says the Die Hard theme song.
Amen. It's a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's a Christmas movie. Junior. Will Vincent feels sorry for Junior. Favorite Christmas movie could be Home Alone.
Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn. That's mine. Somebody asked. Holiday Inn. Bing Crosby. And
not White Christmas.
No, well, that's another good one. But Holiday Inn kind of runs under the radar. It was
Jim Hosta comes in with "Baby It's Cold Outside." Seems to be a song promoting rape. Remember when that was just the dumbest leftist garbage ever? Because she goes, they're like having an argument. I really should go. Baby, it's cold outside. Anyway, the next thing you know, he's saying, why don't you have one more drink and stay a while? Yeah. And it turns into like a Diddy party where he's like trying to slip her a roofie.
Well, it's not that way unless you're watching the Bill Crosby video version of it. Yeah. Slips you the pudding pop laced with fentanyl. Jeremy Kruger says Bing and David Bowie's Little Drummer Boy. Yeah, I like that song.
Yeah.
That's really good. And Mary, did you know?
Likes Little Drummer Boy.
I can't do pentatonic. I just can't.
What is pentatonic? Is that like Zamfir?
No, they're a cappella.
Oh no.
Okay, the one song that is turned into a Christmas song that should not be a Christmas song.
Oh wait, let me think.
Leonard Cohen. Pentatonic did a version of it.
Oh no.
There you go. Heather Stewart says Holiday Inn is the best. Huh? Holiday Inn. It's from the 40s. It came out 2 years before White Christmas. And then White Christmas came out with what? Bing and Danny Kaye, right? Holiday Inn is an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, check it.
There you go. Jonathan Williams comes in late to echo Kathleen Leininger's comments about the Shiner headline.
Again,
that's it. The Advocate gets more publicity here on our program than they do at the newsstand. That's a truth. If we didn't talk about them, they would probably be out of business. Christmas in Dixie by Alabama, great song. Now we can continue this tomorrow. Be thinking of your favorite.
I don't know. We can't. We got lots of guests tomorrow. We're busy tomorrow.
Yes, Congressman Cloud's coming in,
and Pat Matula.
Yeah, to talk about New Year's Eve. I wonder if the congressman is going to wear his Santa hat. I sent him a note.
He needs to wear his pro sweatshirt. Oh, no, wait, we have that one.
He was on the roof of his home with the stocking, the white and red stocking cap on. And I just said, the whole thing just reeks of a photo op.
Hallelujah. That's the song I'm thinking of. It just got to me.
Oh, the Cohen song?
Yeah, it is not a Christmas song.
No.
I didn't hear you.
Commander
My
Cody,
headphones are
he
on. You
needs
got
a
to speak
microphone.
louder. We need to get him a microphone. Maybe we'll get him one for Christmas.
Yeah. I think
That's some
the
hey,
consensus
come on,
is
man.
congrats to
You want a
Shine.
microphone or headphones? You can't ask for both at
You
Christmas.
can't have
we don't.
both.
It's come on. Times
I'll
are
get
tight.
in the headphones.
The Biden administration wants to spend more money. We don't have it in us anymore.
We have a debt ceiling here. There is a song called Christmas.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
it's not this.
You're sure that's not a Christmas song?
They just, it's a parody of Hallelujah.
Wow. Folks, that's it. I'm calling this one.
It's a parody.
We call the patient.
Cloaked as a Christmas song.
We call the patient at 8:00. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Get that last minute shopping done. I'm in double X.
We called the code
hoodies.
on this show at 8 o'clock.
Hallelujah. This one's over. Y'all have a great day. We love you. We'll talk to you manana.
Bye, folks.
Near every bar around.